By Danny Shao, Professor of Latin American and Caribbean Studies. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. If you could please tell us what your take is. The final days of Trump's presidency, and he's taking such extreme measures now, this time regarding Cuba. What is the message that he's trying to send?
Good day. Thanks for having me. I mean, this is extremely hypocritical, even by U.S. standards. Sanctions, as if we did not have enough to worry about here in the United States, with fascism and white supremacy vying for a power grab after this failed coup just 10 days ago. And somehow the priority in Washington is to further strangle and further the efforts to starve out the Cuban people, who've been punished for 6 decades now because they've dared to stand up to empire. So it's very telling that this is the priority in this transition, which has been one of the most interesting, challenging transitions in capitalism's history. But again, the priorities of the Pompeos, the Trumps, and now the Biden administration to ratchet up attacks on Cuba, Venezuela, Yemen. We also saw an increase in sanctions on the Houthis in Yemen. So we see that even though there are these bipartisan disagreements and infighting, capitalism and imperialism are very clear on the countries they intend to continue trying to recolonize.
So, Professor, are you expecting the Biden administration to overturn any of these sanctions?
The Biden administration could try to go a different direction in terms of the same objective, to again penetrate Cuba with foreign capital, but they could try to do it by the Obama strategy versus the wolf strategy, to use the Malcolm X metaphor, which applies more than ever today to the Democrats, the liberals versus the Republicans, the conservatives. But it's very telling that the Miami Herald reported yesterday that the incoming Biden foreign policy team met with the outgoing Trump team in terms of making sure through Elliott Abrams that there's the same level of aggression and the same goals in Venezuela to overthrow the Bolivarian government, and the same goals in Cuba. So though they might try to change the tactics, it's clear that it's the same strategy, the same objective, which is recolonization of any swath of the planet that they.
So you don't believe that there will be any actually change of heart the way it was during the Obama period, at least apparently?
Well, superficially, I mean, definitely. I mean, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, they went to Cuba themselves. They had the agreement with the Iranians, but I don't think at any point capitalism's actual goal changed. Maybe the tactics changed, but I wouldn't say there was a change of heart. I think we'd be naive. I think we have to continue to sniff out what the U.S. is trying to do through U.S. aid, through the National Endowment for Democracy, and all of this funding. The Miami Herald was reporting hundreds of $millions of in spite of a pandemic. They continue to fund these organizations to infiltrate Venezuelan and Cuban and Nicaraguan society, to try to distribute contracts and money and social media accounts and international platforms and visas, so that they can try to bribe and buy off consciousness, especially among the youth of Cuba, who've really never had a chance to live free of a blockade. And then they dangle in front of their noses in Miami all of the quote-unquote wealth of empire, as they continue to devalue Cuban currency and strangle the Cuban economy. So the youth of Cuba are especially susceptible to these strategies from imperialism.
Thank you very much, Professor Danny